2012 to 2015 Honda Civic 1.8 liter. I'm doing the air intake boot replacement. I'm talking about this little rubber boot right here on your air box. These things develop holes. I put a white mark where the rip is. You can get codes like a MAF code, lean code. Yeah, so basically when you accelerate, that rip will open and it'll draw air into the engine, unmetered air, and then it could throw a code just like that. So anyways, I'm going to show you how to do it. And I got my new part right here. This is my new part. This is the part number. I'm going to link a new one below. They sell these on Amazon. This is a Honda genuine one, but you can get these on Amazon for like way cheaper that are like just as good. I'm going to link a couple below. Aftermarket ones even come with new clamps. But this is a Honda Civic, and like I said before, this is the 1.8 liter, 2012 to 2015. Now, I spent like an hour trying to get this out without having to remove the cowl. The cowl is like that metal part that's right above the box, and I couldn't do it, so I had to remove the cowl. So we're going to be doing that in this video. I'm going to show you how to remove it. I tried to do it, make a cool video where you could slip it out, but I just couldn't do it, guys. So basically what I mean by that is this metal piece right here is called a cowl. And we're going to get this out, and then once this is out, you'll have a little bit more space. So we'll get this guy out. It's not even that bad to get out. And then once that's out, I'm going to show you how to get the whole airbox assembly out. Like this, you remove this guy, and then once this guy is out of the way and the cowl is out, you have a lot more room to get in here and then just easily get to this boot. Get it out, get the new one in, you know. You gotta switch over some clamps if you get the OEM one, or you might have an aftermarket one. You gotta switch over the clamps. Anyways, let's get going. So first thing you want to do is pop the hood, and we're gonna get these little clips off the cowl. There's one in the center and there's one on each side, I believe. The center is supposed to just unscrew and come out, but once you just get it out and push the other bottom part out, you want to get this plastic piece loose off the metal piece. So you want this to be loose like this. So get all the clips out that look like that. Then you're going to remove this little cover. There's a little square rectangle cover. You remove that and you'll have access to the cowl bolts. There's 9 bolts total, 3 12 millimeters up front, and then there's 3 10 millimeters in the back. So here's the 3 12 millimeters that we're going to get out. Right here, each side has 3 12 millimeter bolts, and then in the back there's a 10 millimeter on each side, and then there's also one in the center that you have to get out to. I'm going to show you how to get those, and we're going to get this metal cowl out. So get yourself some kind of 12 millimeter. I got a long ratcheting one. It was actually like perfect for this job. I was able to get these out. I'm gonna link a ratcheting 12 millimeter wrench below because this thing made the job way easier. So we'll just go ahead and get each one of these out. I'm gonna speed it up here so I'm not trying to bore you guys to death. But yeah, you get these loose and then don't lose them, don't drop them, get them out, put them somewhere safe. Once those are out, on each side, we're going to get a 10 millimeter socket. A swivel socket's good if you got it, and a long extension. This is a 10 millimeter swivel socket, and pretty much the longest extension I got because you got to go kind of far deep in there. Get that 10 millimeter out, loosen it, take it out, and then now this side's good. Let's go to the other side. So I got that side done, and then on this side, we're going to go back here and get this 10 millimeter bolt out way in the back. Try not to drop them. You know, if you do drop them, don't panic. Maybe when you pull the cowl out, it'll be sitting on the cowl. And then there's the one in the center right here. So you got to get one. I'm sorry about the autofocus, but you got to get back there with the 10 millimeter socket and the extensions. Get that guy out. And then once you get that center one out, this thing should be able to wiggle and pull free. The cowl's kind of like, it has kind of like an adhesive, and it's kind of stuck in place. So you kind of got to wiggle and pull, and be very gentle. This is the extension I got for the center bolt back there. I was able to get it loosened. Try not to rage rip this thing out because you don't want to break your windshield or anything. But we're just gonna, you know, wiggle and pull it out. Expect a little bit of resistance, and then once this cowl is out, we're gonna set it to the side, and then we're gonna have a little bit more room to work with. So first, let's go ahead and get this air boot off right here. Just kind of gently massage this guy off. At this age, these cars, like a lot of dirt and dust has like made its way onto these boots, so they're going to be stubborn. I got a 10 millimeter socket with another extension. I'm going to get these 2 10 millimeter bolts off of the airbox assembly. There's one right here and one right here. These are like long 10 millimeter bolts, so try not to lose them. But that's it for the airbox assembly. The only thing holding the airbox assembly besides these is it has like a rubber mount on the back that we're going to have to kind of pull it off of. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get these bolts off right here, set them to the side safely. If you have a magnet tool, it helps a lot. Now the clamp on the air intake boot is right here. You got to loosen this clamp a lot. It's like a really weird Phillips screwdriver size, or you can get away with using a 5.5 socket. I'll link a 5.5 socket below, but yeah, that was like, it grabs it enough to be able to unscrew that fine. If you have like a screwdriver that you could actually fit into that spot, then that's cool, but it was just like a weird, really narrow screwdriver bit that I don't have that one. So once you get that off, we're going to gently pull this off of the air box. It'll want to continuously to go back on. So, you know, expect some resistance. Now the MAF sensor, there's a little thumb tab you could push and you wiggle it and pull the connector backwards. Don't pull on the wires. Just get that off. And then there's a little green guide right here. You have to get this off. It won't come off as easy as I just pulled it off. I had to use long pliers to grab the sides of that green clip and compress them while I pushed it backwards out of that hole. I used these and I compressed the clips and I was able to push it off. That has to come off because when we yank this airbox out, if that MAF sensor harness is on the airbox, it's going to rip those wires and then you're going to have a whole new problem. So once you get all that stuff off, we're going to just kind of wiggle and pull this off. Like I said, on the bottom, there's like this rubber grommet and you have to kind of wiggle and pull this guy out, and that grommet holds it pretty tight. So, you know, expect that. And then now we have access to this guy right here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this little hose off of here, out of the guide. And then there's a clamp right there on that one. And then we also got the clamp on the air boot itself. It's down here. I used an extension with my 5.5 socket, and I was able to get on there and loosen it up like that. I kind of had to unturn it, or I had to unscrew it a lot. These bolts have really small, thin threads, so it's like I had to do a lot of rotations to get it loose enough to come off of here. Again, if you have a screwdriver that could fit on there good, you could use that as well. So once I got that loose enough, I was able to just kind of pull this off here like this. And so there's a hose, or there's a wire harness too that needs to come out of a guide on there, and then there's a metal hose with a clamp on it right up here. And so I got this completely off of the throttle body, and I left that clamp on. That was the last thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to squeeze that clamp with pliers, and then I'm going to use my other hand to wiggle and pull the air boot off of that hose. This is like the hardest part because there's no room to move that clamp to have it out of the way. So I'm going to squeeze it, and then with my other hand, I'm going to pull this air boot off of the hose. That's just the only way I could figure out how to do it, because if I try to just move the clamp and then get it off, the clamp would just constrict it and make it tight again. So you get it off, and then now on some replacements, you're going to have to switch the clamps over to your new boot. It's not really a big deal. Make sure you put them like in the same orientation. Put the bolts in those little guides, those little hook guides that are on the boot. And if you have a different aftermarket one that comes with clamps, well, then there you go. You can have those clamps. But on this one, I had to switch them over. It's really not a big deal at all. Just takes like an extra 5 minutes. Just switch these over. And then you want to tighten them enough to where they don't fall off, but not enough to where it's going to prevent you from putting it back on the airbox or the throttle body. So we'll get that on. And then just a little tech tip here. If you have something like Seal Glide, I would put just a small amount, just a small film on all the holes on the inside, because when you put this back on, if you just going straight rubber or whatever metal, it's gonna like want to drag and mess up and not go on. So I just put like a tad bit just to get this on. You don't want to put a glob of it because you don't want a glob of it getting sucked in your engine, but if you just do like a small thin layer, that's gonna assist you greatly. So I'll link this below as well. This is available on Amazon. Good stuff. I use it for all kinds of stuff on cars. Also, good time to clean your throttle body if you want to clean it. I'm not going to do it on this one, but you could do that now if you wanted to. Now, we're going to put this guy on. Got my clamp in place. Got the bolts in the same exact spot. Now, this has a little guide to kind of like a marker to show you where it goes. So that those two little black prongs go on that little stub part on the throttle body. And then we'll put that in place. And then I'm going to put this metal hose on first. This clamp, try not to lose this clamp when you take it off. We're going to slide this back on up here, and then we're going to put the metal hose into the air boot. Slide that in like that, and then I'll put the clamp on. And then just be wary of these hoses that are connected to it. You don't want to like rage pull on stuff because you'll break hoses and you'll have other issues after you break something. So try to be patient on this job. I know it's like tedious and annoying, but when you lose your patience, that's when you lose. Okay, so I got this clamp on, and then I got the air boot clamp down here in the same exact location, so I'm able to just tighten that back up in the same exact spot I took it off. Make sure it's nice and tight. You don't got to go like insane tight, but you know, just make sure it's snug, and maybe like a quarter turn after snug. And then I'll put just this wire harness back in the guide that it was, and then the other hose in place. And I'm doing all of this now because once the cowl's in or the airbox is in, it's just going to make it to where I can't do it. So we're going to get all this stuff done now. All right, now once this is in, take your MAF sensor wire harness and put it over here just so it's out of the way so it doesn't get trapped under nothing when we put our airbox in. Put a little seal glide on this grommet here. This is the grommet I was talking about. That's like a pain in the butt. It really holds that airbox tight. It feels really unnatural pulling it off because it feels like there's a bolt connected still. But with that like that, this will go in easier. Just gently put your airbox assembly in place. You know, hook your air intake boot up to it. Hook the bottom one up to it. Be patient. Don't lose your patience. If something's not lining up right, maybe take it out and try again. But once you got this back in place, you know, we can come back here and plug our MAF sensor back in. We can put the green guide back in. The green guide, you just push it in and it'll lock into place again. If you broke that green guide, don't beat yourself up. You'll probably be just fine. Just, you know, just plug it in, and then the harness, it doesn't move around that much. It'll be okay. Just plug this in right here. All right, and now let's go over here and tighten this clamp back up. Again, just like snug plus a quarter turn. If you go crazy cranking on it, you might rip the boot. Now let's put this cowl back in. It's kind of annoying. You got to line it up perfect and get it back in place. Hand tighten your 6 12 millimeter bolts, 3 on each side. Get those hand tightened in, just like start it, and then put your 10 millimeters in. And when you put your 10 millimeters in, you can run them in like the full amount. But you know, get those, because if you put your 10 millimeters in first and tighten them down, then the bolt holes up front might not line up. So just get the ones up front hand tightened in place. It's kind of tedious, and then once those are kind of like just hand tightened in, like 5 or 6 threads, then put your 10 millimeters in. Now a little tech tip: if you put a paper towel on your socket or in your socket, you could it'll hold the bolt in place, or you could run it back there. That is if you don't have a magnet socket, of course. If you have like a magnet 10 millimeter swivel, you'll be just fine. But if you don't, you could just use this trick and then just get it started, get it in place there, and then tighten it down. It's up to you if you want to leave the paper towel on there. I just leave it on there. It's not going to hurt nothing. And then do the center one and then the one on the left, of course. Okay, now tighten all the bolts down. I'm not going to do that on camera. It'd be boring. But once you get those on, now we'll put our cowl plastic screws in, or plastic clips in. If you broke your clips, just use like a zip tie and get it tight to the cowl again. And then put these little covers on the sides, these right here. These just go in place, kind of like how you took them off. You kind of just gotta, they're directional, so the one for the left can only go on the left side, and the one for the right can only go on the right side. So put these back in. You just kind of put this tab into this hole right here, line them up, and then they should push in. It's kind of a weird fit, so like if it keeps popping out on you, just be patient. Or actually, this one was the left one, so I had to switch it over, I think. Oh, no, this one was good. This was the right one. All right. Now we're going to put our 10 millimeter bolts back in the airbox assembly. Again, you could use the trick with the paper towel to kind of hold your bolt in place if you don't have a magnet socket or like a magnet tool to help assist you getting those in place. We're going to get this lined up, push this in, and then I would get them both hand started, like threaded pretty good first, and then go ahead and tighten them all the way down. That way one of them's not super tight and it lodges the hole from the other one. Okay, go ahead and tighten this down like this, and then tighten this one here. All right, and that's it, guys. So hopefully this video helped you out. Any additional information in the comments is appreciated. I'll see you next video.
All right, guys, that's all the information I got for you. The rest of the video is just some products and other stuff I got going on. Totally up to you if you want to stick around. Got a 15% off promo code for AUXITO.com. They got a handful of products, but what they're mostly known for is their really good aftermarket LED headlights. They've been out a few years now, and at first the lights they had were 200% brighter than regular headlight bulbs. Now they've upgraded the tech this year, and now it's 600% brighter. So if you're in the boonies, the suburbs, the city, I highly recommend you upgrade your bulbs. Nothing wrong with having an old car, but you should get with the times and have bright headlights like everyone else. These bulbs are available on Amazon. However, if you go to the AUXITO website, that's where I could give you a promo code for 15% off. All you got to do is go to the website, type in your year, make, and model. There's basically products for every car out there, and what kind of light you want. They have all kinds of different lights for interior, exterior, headlights, and then you just browse to what you need and you get it. And then at checkout, you're going to type in GearmoAuto and then hit apply in the coupon code spot, and it'll take 15% off.